Hi, this is American English with Linda, and I'm going to do a practice of first conversation because sometimes you know a lot of vocabulary, but you're not very confident about starting to speak with a stranger. So be brave, start a conversation with a stranger. So let's look at the first slide, the beginning, when you want to start the conversation. Let's say you are at a public place where many people are randomly gathering. One person walks up, another person walks up, a small group forms, but there is no organization to it. It's random. You might say, and whatever is in yellow is what you say. The other part is in blue. Hello or hi, may I join you? Or excuse me, is it okay if I join you? The other person might say, sure, of course. Okay, feel free. Another way to do the same thing is hello or hi, do you mind if I join you? Many times we don't even say, do you? We just say, hello, mind if I join you? Or, excuse me, mind if I join you? And notice the star, so you go to the bottom. Do you mind means, will it bother you if I join you? Will it upset you if I join you? And usually it's fine. So the person might say, not at all, I don't mind, no I don't. It means it doesn't bother me. But they may also give a more positive response, sure, it's fine, go ahead. And that way you have approached the person. The next slide, the beginning. A public place where people are randomly finding a place to sit. It might be in a big auditorium where there are many seats, or it might be at a counter where there are many stools, or it might be on a bench, or it might be a table with chairs. But you might say hello or hi. May I sit here? Sometimes people will say, can I sit here? May I sit here is a little more polite. Or, excuse me, is it okay if I sit here? Is it okay if I sit here? And the person will probably say, sure, of course, okay, feel free. Now, another way, again, to say that would be, hello, do you mind if I sit here? Or mind if I sit here? Or excuse me, mind if I sit here? And again, they would say a similar answer, not at all, I don't mind. No, I don't mind. Sure, it's fine, go ahead. So then you sit down. And then you're ready to start a conversation if you want to. Now, if it's very formal, you might say, how do you do? But that's very formal, and many times we skip that and say something like, I'm Sue, or my name is Sue Smith. What's your name? Or, may I get your name? And the person might answer, I'm Joe, or my name is Joe Jones. You would answer in some way to say you like meeting them, something like this. Nice to meet you, Joe. A pleasure to meet you, Joe. Or if it's more formal, you might say, nice to meet you, Mr. Jones. A pleasure to meet you, Mr. Jones. And they might say, you too, meaning it's a pleasure to meet you too. Or they might say me too, meaning I also am glad to meet you. Or they might say, same here. Now that the conversation has started, you want to keep it going. One of the things you might say, and some of these will be good for a situation, some will not. You have to find the one that works for you. One thing you might say is, do you come here often? And they might say, I do. What about you? And you might answer, this is my first time. I am really looking forward to this event or occasion, whatever it is. Or you might just say, this is my first time, I'm excited. And you might ask them, what do you think about this event, location, place, whatever it is? Or you might say, what do you like about this? What do you think about it? What do you like about it? Other things you might say, are you from around here? If they say yes, then you might want more information about this place. Can you recommend any good restaurants? Any famous landmarks? Any popular activities? Any upcoming events? Maybe if you're in Texas, there's a rodeo coming up or a big sports game coming up. If they say no, they're not from around here, then you might say, well, where are you from? Where are you from? They might say, I'm from Florida. Or they might say, I live in Florida now, but I'm from Montana originally. Florida is a state in the United States. Montana is another state. Any state or city would work, or even another country. Another way to say I'm from Montana originally is to say I grew up in Montana. I'm from Montana originally, or I grew up in Montana. If they give you a place, you might say, what is it like living there? Other things you might say. And this would be if you are in a theater. Other places it might not work. If you're in a library, other places it might not work. Do you know any movies out now that you can recommend? Or do you know any books out now that you can recommend? The person might say, what kind do you like? Or what genre do you like? Action and adventure? Science fiction? Comedy? Romance? Horror? Documentaries? Movies or books based on true events? They might just say, have you seen, and name a movie, or have you read, and name a book? And they may not go through that first part. And then if you have or haven't seen it, you would respond, you would answer. You might also say, do you have a family? Now that's better than saying, are you married, especially between a man and a woman. It's a very common question to find out if they have family, or do you have family around here? And if they list a long family group, like aunts and uncles and cousins and parents and grandparents, then you might say, do they live around here? Do they live close by? It's interesting to know if their family is close by or if they're all alone in this area. But they might say, my parents live about an hour away. If they just mention husband or wife and children, you wouldn't want to ask, do they live around here? Probably. Only if they list other family members. Some other questions you might start with, what do you do for a living? That's what is your career, what is your job? What do you do for a living? They might say, I work for a bank, or I work in a bank, or I work at a bank, or I'm an engineer, for instance, or I'm in sales, or I'm in tech, that field of work. They might say, I'm between jobs. That means they're unemployed, but they don't want to say unemployed. I'm between jobs, or I'm still looking for the right opportunity, and that's fine. They may have savings and they don't need to be working right now. They might say, I'm a student at a university. Now, they could be working, maybe not working while they're going to school, but their main event during the week is school, the university. They might also mention, I work from home. Many jobs today have that option. They're probably going to say, what about you? Now, I gave all of these answers so that you can pick one of those that fits you or something similar, and you will have an answer ready. I'm an artist, or I'm a musician, or I'm something, or I'm a tourist. Now, if you're talking to a woman, don't just say, do you work? Because women who don't work outside the home still work. And so it's better if you want to know if they have a job, they get a paycheck, you would say, do you work outside the home? And the woman who doesn't work outside the home might say, no, I'm a housewife, or I'm a homemaker, or I'm raising a family. But just to say, do you work, to a woman sometimes makes them, if they are a homemaker, makes them feel like you're putting their position down, like it's not important if they aren't working somewhere to get a salary. So just say, do you work outside the home? There are other questions you could lead with. Many people in the United States are sports fans. So you could say, are you a sports fan? And if they say yes, for instance, yeah, I like baseball. Then you would continue with, which is your favorite team or your favorite player? How are they doing this season? Now, in some settings, for instance, in an airport or a bus station or somewhere in a hotel lobby, do you travel? Do you like to travel? Where have you been? Do you like to travel? What are your favorite travel destinations? You could also say, where did you go to school? I'm not going to ask, where did you graduate? Because I don't know if you graduated or not. And you don't have to tell me. The weather is usually a safe topic. How about this weather? Whew. It's really hot today. Oh, wow, that rain is really coming down. Well, I enjoy a cloudy, cool day like today, don't you? Is this typical weather for this time of the year or this time of year? Typical means it's common at this time of the year to have a lot of rain or to have a lot of sunshine or to have storms. Is this typical? Or I wonder what the weather forecast is for tomorrow. Will there be more thunderstorms? If we have that today, will we have it tomorrow? More sunshine and heat? More high humidity when your perspiration won't evaporate? It's hot. Humidity. If it's snowing, this snow is beautiful, but I hate to drive in this kind of weather. Some sentence or part of a sentence there might be useful. If there are places to get refreshments, you might say, may I get you something to drink? Or may I get you some refreshments? May I get you a snack? What would you like? It's the same thing as saying, what do you want? But what do you like is more polite. How about a drink? How about a soda? Now, in my part of the United States, we often say, how about a Coke? That does not mean a Coca-Cola. It could mean any kind of soft drink. It could be a Coca-Cola, but it could be Sprite, Dr. Pepper, Pepsi, all the other brands. And then after that, we might say, which one? I put a little X in front of the word coffee because we don't often say a coffee. We might say a cup of coffee. But we say, how about a drink? How about a soda? How about a Coke? How about a cup of coffee? How about a cup of tea or a glass of tea? And then if there are other refreshments available, would you like some candy? Would you like some popcorn? Oftentimes you need to ask what size, and then since you brought it up, since you started talking about it, you might want to say, it's on me, meaning I will pay. I'm not going to ask you to pay. Ending the conversation or leaving the location. It was a pleasure talking with you. I hope we meet again sometime soon. Now, you may not add that, I hope we meet again. You might just say, it was a pleasure talking with you. Or talking to you is okay. I enjoyed visiting with you. Maybe we can meet again another time, but you don't have to add that second sentence if you don't want to. If you want to make more contact, may I or can I have your phone number? Or do you mind sharing your number? If it's appropriate, you might say that. When you're finally leaving, you can just say bye or so long or many other phrases. Many times we say goodbye instead of goodbye. We just shorten it and say goodbye, and then have a nice day or have a nice evening if it's late in the day. So these are some sentences you could use when you start talking to someone for the first time. I hope that helps, and I hope you have a nice